When you think of the richest people on the planet, images of Jeff Bezos sporting his rocket or Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin might come to mind. But compared to the Saudi royal family, their wealth is peanuts. In 2020, Forbes estimated that the House of Saud had a combined wealth of $1.4 trillion. For perspective, that's more than the GDP of 129 countries. And at the heart of this astronomical fortune is King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, who has an estimated net worth of around $18 billion. So just how does one man and his family spend $2 trillion? Let's find out. Taking a look back, Salman was born on December 31, 1935 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. His father was King Abdulaziz Al Saud, who is considered the founder of modern-day Saudi Arabia. As a result, Salman is widely known as the king's full brother. Unlike his older half-sibling, Salman was born to the same mother and was next in line to the throne after his older brother. Throughout his early life, Salman held various positions in the Saudi government, such as governor of Riyadh and defense minister. However, it was until 2015 that he officially became the king of Saudi Arabia after his brother abdicated the throne. Now, when it comes to how much Salman actually owns, that's quite difficult to say. Forbes estimates that he has a net worth of around $18 billion, which makes him the fourth richest royal in the world. However, rumors have suggested that his true net worth is closer to $40 billion. Either way, Salman has a massive fortune to play with, and over the years he's used this money to buy some of the most luxurious things money can buy. One of the most notable purchases made by the Saudi royal family is the Château de Fontainebleau in France, located just outside Paris. This 40-bedroom palace is arguably one of the most beautiful buildings in all of Europe. Built in the 17th century, the palace took 10 years to complete and costed over 600 million euros. In fact, it cost so much that the French king at the time went bankrupt. As a result, Napoleon decided to auction off the palace. Little did he know that 300 years later, it would be bought by a Saudi prince. In 2015, Mohammed bin Salman reportedly bought the palace for $300 million, which at the time Western media called the most expensive home ever sold. Now, it's not entirely clear if the palace is used as a vacation home, a place to store art, or simply an investment property. But regardless, there's no denying that it looks absolutely stunning. Another great purchase made by the Saudi royal family is their yacht named Serene. At first glance, it looks like your typical luxury yacht, but in reality, it's one of the largest and most expensive private yachts in the world. It costs roughly $550 million to purchase and $30 million per year to maintain. With 170-foot tall masts and an overall height of 265 feet, Serene towers over almost all other yachts. If you want to get an idea of how big this boat is, here's a picture comparing it to the Titanic. But unlike the Titanic, Serene is equipped with some modern-day luxuries like 2 helicopter landing pads, a mini submarine, a concert hall, a swimming pool, and an underwater observation room. As for who owns this multi-hundred-million-dollar vessel, it's believed to belong to either Mohammed bin Salman or another member of the Saudi royal family. Now, while purchasing assets abroad is all fun and games, the Saudi royal family has also focused on investing back into the country. One of their most ambitious projects is something called Vision 2030. Launched in 2016, Vision 2030 is a strategic framework meant to reduce Saudi Arabia's dependence on oil and reform the country's economy. It covers everything from entertainment to transportation to energy. Out of all the initiatives launched under this plan, perhaps the coolest one is the King Salman Park, scheduled to open in 2023. The park will span over 13 square miles, making it one of the largest urban parks in the world. It will feature walking trails, cycling tracks, educational centers, restaurants, sports facilities, and even dedicated public transport. In terms of funding, the park has received an initial investment of $23 billion, which is enough to build 80 American football fields. The Saudi royal family has also been pouring billions of dollars into building new cities within the country. One of these new developments is NEOM, a $100 billion project located on the west coast of Saudi Arabia. It's envisioned to be a futuristic city that caters to the ultra-wealthy. Some of its features include nature reserves, tourist attractions, research centers, and linear high-speed trains that move around the city. On top of this, they've also invested tens of billions into developing smart cities throughout the desert. So while a lot of people view the Saudi royal family as selfish and corrupt, it's important to note that they are investing heavily in the future of their country. In fact, their goal is to make Saudi Arabia the investment powerhouse of the Middle East. But speaking of investments, the Saudi royal family has also been diversifying their portfolio internationally, and the entity responsible for managing these investments is the Public Investment Fund, or PIF. Established in 1971, the PIF originally served as a sovereign wealth fund to manage the kingdom's surplus oil revenue. However, in recent years, the fund has grown exponentially and now manages $620 billion. It's regarded as the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. Now, before we go into what they invest in, it's important to know that the PIF isn't solely responsible for managing Salman's personal wealth. According to Bloomberg Billionaire's index, the $18 billion that counts towards Salman's net worth is managed by the kingdom's finance ministry. They're tasked with generating returns on his behalf, which is likely done through a variety of means, like fixed deposits and treasury bonds. Meanwhile, the PIF only oversees the $620 billion that belongs to the kingdom itself. Regardless, both entities have allowed the House of Saud to grow their wealth tremendously. As of today, the PIF has stakes in hundreds of companies across dozens of countries, and their investments cover almost every sector imaginable, from banking to insurance to pharmaceuticals. That being said, they're probably most well known for their investments in Silicon Valley. After all, they're one of the largest shareholders in Uber, owning a 5% stake worth roughly $15 billion. They also own 5% of Tesla, 7% of Twitter, 3% of Disney, and 1.2% of Apple. Not only are these investments highly diversified, but they're also very lucrative. Just imagine how much money they made off of Tesla stock over the past few years. Aside from stocks, they've also invested heavily into real estate. In fact, they're the owners of the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. They're also the owners of Four Seasons Hotel George V in Paris, a luxury hotel that's worth several $100 million. Additionally, they've recently invested into the golf industry. In March of 2022, they purchased the European Tour, one of golf's premier circuits, for $700 million. And the following month, they purchased the PGA Tour's new headquarters for $75 million. With all that being said, though, one has to wonder where all this money came from in the first place. Well, the answer is oil. Since the discovery of oil in the early 1930s, Saudi Arabia has dominated the global oil market. In fact, they are the largest oil producer in the world, pumping out over 10 million barrels per day. With such strong demand for oil, it's no surprise that Saudi Arabia has amassed such a large fortune. Lastly, it's also important to note that the Saudi royal family gives back to society as well. Through the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, the family provides aid to communities that are suffering from crises. For example, during the Syrian civil war, they donated over $45 million to help Syrian refugees. Likewise, they've helped victims of natural disasters in Indonesia, Bangladesh, Iraq, and Malaysia. In addition to this, they've built schools and clinics in underdeveloped nations. Overall, the Saudi royal family has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charities. So, do you think the Saudi royal family spends their money wisely? Comment it down below. Also, drop a like if you want to see more videos about billionaires. And of course, consider checking out our international channels to watch our videos in other languages, and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.